Should I just not talk and leave an awkward silence, and then like Jane or Mark or Ellie will just have to jump in? Hi, and welcome to this week's live lunch. Do you know, I wasn't here last week, but you only miss 1 week and it feels like it's ages since you've done this. It's really bizarre. But here we are. It's Thursday, it's 12 noon, and we are live on Facebook, on our YouTube channel, and also on my LinkedIn profile. So hopefully the notifications are starting to ping. There's a bit of a delay as always, and we'll start to see people joining us in the next moment or two. But I'm very excited about this week's live lunch because we have a new person from the Green Umbrella marketing team joining us to, I'm going to say, enjoy the experience. What do you think, Jane? Is it an enjoyable experience?
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far. Yes, of course it is. We love live lunch.
So this is Ellie. So Ellie, give us a wave. Ellie joined. Ellie, when did you start?
October,
yeah. So
October the 4th.
Fantastic. So Ellie's with us sort of part-time, and she helps us just like with loads of stuff in the background. But you spend a lot of time in the office, don't you, Ellie? And just like overhearing all of the stuff. I was going to say the crazy, but I hate when people go, it's really crazy here. But
I was going to say the drama, but it's not even, it's just Jane and Mark.
You wouldn't believe just how dramatic they can be at times, especially Jane. But yeah, so Ellie has become known in the office as the person that has a constant stream of random facts. And also as part of your role, Ellie, you're going to start getting out there a little bit more, be a bit more front facing, doing some networking, that kind of stuff. So we thought we'd bring you on and make you a regular feature on the Green Umbrella Live Lunch so people can get to know you. How are you feeling about today? Are you nervous?
Yeah, for once in my life, I really don't know what to speak about. I'm a bit lost for words, but yeah, I'm excited. Do something different.
Fantastic. So, obviously, this show is about us just having a catch up about what's happening social media wise. So Jane, let's come to you first. Jane, you've always got a list of things that have happened over the week, and so yeah, what's most impressive at the moment?
Okay, so the one that's sort of piqued my interest the most this week is 3D avatars. So at the minute on Facebook, obviously you can create your 3D avatar. You can make it look like you, and there's various sort of options, aren't there? So you can make it smile, laugh, wave, things like that, and use it in the comments. So anyway, so Facebook, this is only in America and Mexico and Canada for the minute, but they're having an update on the 3D avatar thing. So they're making them a lot more 3D. They're making them move a lot more like the sort of memojis you get on an iPhone. And they are sort of refining them, making them look a bit more real. And they're then going to allow you to use them in your Instagram stories and your DMs. So you can sort of make an Instagram story with perhaps a video in the background and have a little avatar person at the bottom speaking or waving or whatever you wanted to do. So that sounds quite good. But then the bit that interested me the most is they're going to start using them for sponsored content. So as of this month, you in America again, you can choose your avatar to have a t-shirt on basically of the two teams that are in the Super Bowl. So and that's like a start of it, but obviously that's just opening up the way for selling digital clothing basically. So you can imagine, you want your avatar to have a Nike t-shirt on or whatever, you'll go and buy a digital t-shirt from Nike and put that on your avatar, and you're advertising their brand and looking cool in the process. Now this isn't actually new, it's new to Facebook. It's not really new in terms of the world, because Roblox and Fortnite have been doing this for years. I mean, my kids play Roblox and Fortnite, and they're always buying skins, hats, t-shirts, all sorts of things, and dressing their avatar in those things to go and interact in the game. And apparently last year there was a Gucci bag that went for sale in Roblox for $4,000. I mean, I didn't know anything was quite that much money. I know my kids have had some Fabergé eggs, apparently, that they'd saved up hard for. But I mean, I don't know what you do with these things when you get them there. But yeah, £4,000 for a virtual Gucci bag is insane, in my opinion. But that's the way it's going, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, how much is a Gucci bag?
I don't know.
Like,
that kind of money in real life, I would imagine, but
yeah, I mean, I'm like, you could get it cheaper than that at Bicester Village, surely.
probably.
But it's interesting, isn't it? Because we've got, like I said, we were talking about it 2 weeks ago, like some of the stuff, like the NFT stuff, the metaverse stuff. It's like a lot of it is that like stuff that's been happening in gaming for years is suddenly coming into the social media world. Makes me feel like I've paid a lot more attention to the gaming stuff, have to admit. So yeah, no, that's interesting. But I love the idea of the sponsorship opportunities within that. I'm sure, it's going to be a big brand thing, definitely. But yeah, loads of room, like from an e-commerce perspective, tons that you can do. And then sporting wise as well, just think about like World Cups. It's just like, you could just like, there's a lot of opportunity.
I was going to say that's something else for Mark to learn, to put some green umbrella tops on all of our Facebook. You need to start designing those.
That'll be next.
I love green umbrella, but not that much. Sorry.
Wow, Jane.
Wow, my P45's in the post now, isn't it?
Honestly. So, Jane, I know you've got some other stuff as well, but Mark, I'm going to mute. We're in the same room, so we've got to keep muting and unmuting. So I'm going to mute, and Mark's going to, because I believe you've actually got something to share.
Well, yeah, just a little bit. It's actually about TikTok, believe it or not. But little caveat, I still can't get into it. I know I'm the one person in the world that just doesn't get on with it. But there was a couple of things that just sort of caught my eye because of other things. So obviously everyone knows, if they've watched a few of these, that I'm definitely into rugby and sport. And basically TikTok have actually taken over some sponsorship of the Women's Six Nations. They're going to be the title sponsor of the Women's Six Nations moving forward. But also they're going to have they're not the main title sponsor, but I think it's the under-20s and the men's as well, plus the autumn internationals. So it just shows them getting into different markets, really. And that made me sort of, do a bit of digging to see what else they're sort of sponsoring. And not as a football fan, I did see it when they did the Euros. They were a sponsor of the Euros last year. And also they're a sponsor of Wrexham, which is the football club owned by Ryan Reynolds and another actor, I can't remember, Rob McElhenney, I think his name is. So, they're getting into real sort of different markets. And obviously they've had TV advertising and things like that. And then sort of linked to that, then this morning on the BBC website, there's a big thing about Facebook's users, your daily usage being down for the first time ever. And they've actually attributed it to Snapchat, partly anyway. So, not Snapchat, sorry, TikTok, sorry. So, yeah, it's an interesting one that obviously TikTok are really pushing into areas where perhaps, like we've said before, their demographic naturally isn't, but it's obviously now affecting the other platforms. So it's quite an interesting move, really. So that was my 2 penneth. Now I can mute again.
So this is, I didn't know any of that stuff with the sponsorship stuff with TikTok. I've been really, really pulled into the moves they've been making, like within the recruitment world. But yeah, I mean, the news with like this morning, I think the Facebook shares were like down 20% or something like that, because it's their like the last quarterly report, the results have been issued. And we already knew that TikTok's overtaken YouTube. So the fact that it's now Facebook are losing out as well. We've had so many players come along over the years that have rocked things a little bit for Facebook, and they've kind of fought back and got the younger audience back into the app again. But yeah, this time it's like, I don't remember there ever being someone that's had as much of an effect on the two biggest players, i.e. YouTube and Facebook, in the social media world. Don't remember that sort of really happening at any other time. So I mean, it's really interesting. So I know we've mentioned it a couple of times now. I'm trying to do a TikTok every day. There are a couple of days I've missed, admittedly. Hold my hands up. but it's, like I say, it's just really interesting to see where it's going. That they all take the mickey out of me all the time now, because I'm talking about snackable content a lot at the minute, but that's what TikTok is. You know, we've all got short attention spans. Well, a video on TikTok is generally no more than a couple of minutes, but more often than not, it is kind of 15, 30 seconds, sub 60 seconds. And people are just like, they're sliding through, they're watching something for 15 seconds, going on to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. It's a really interesting place to be in terms of social media and video right now, and like how to construct these videos, the impact they have elsewhere. Jane, I don't know if you were going to talk about this. Instagram are doing something to try and encourage people using Reels. Again, is that on your list of things?
Yes, it is. Yeah, with story highlights, you can now convert your story highlight into a reel and add music and stuff like that. And also, they were talking about making them 90 seconds. I can't actually remember they are at the minute. They're 60 seconds, but yeah, so they're lengthening them. So and adding more things to it. So yeah, I think they're trying to fight back, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. So John's watching, and he's just said he can't think of a platform that he would want to be on less. And it's like, I kind of feel you on that one. I really do. It's like, there's this thing with TikTok. You just start watching and you're just like, where did the last 2 hours go? It is, I think you really struggle to find, right now, you struggle to find the type of I struggle to find the type of content that serves me. The stuff I engage with is very much around, well, obviously digital marketing and entrepreneurship. So there's a few there's a real kind of, there's a chunk of people that are on there that are sort of, the motivational, inspirational kind of, that kind of stuff. And then there are some, like some of the podcasts, there's clips from podcasts, that kind of thing that are on there. But what I found in my experience is it's what you're shown is of that is quite a small percentage versus someone doing a dance or falling over in the supermarket or, some stupid challenge somewhere. And so for me, the balance isn't quite right yet from a content perspective to make it somewhere I want to spend a lot of time. But it's something I've ignored it long enough. I can't ignore it any longer, because to be honest, by the end of this year, we're going to have clients asking us about TikTok strategies. We've had 2 TikTok strategy inquiries in the last 3 months where I've just had to say, look, right now, I don't know enough to guide you. So whether we like it or whether I like it or not, whether you guys like it or not, we've got to get our teeth into it and understand it. And I do think there are going to be some, a bit like Instagram, there's some businesses where I'm like, yeah, go all out. And other businesses I'm like, do you know what? Do it so that people can see you're there. But like, you don't need to put a lot of effort in, because it's not going to give you the return that you want. It's not going to do what you need it to do. So yeah, it's just interesting. Really
I've got a little bit of a random fact.
Go on.
The average consumer, it takes about 8 seconds for them to decide whether they're staying on your content or not. So that's the reason the TikTok videos are obviously serving more people, because it's that short attention span is grabbing someone's attention more than a 2-paragraph post on Facebook.
Absolutely. And if you think beyond that, and like take what Ellie's just said and think about like YouTube ads are just, we need to be doing YouTube ads this year for our business. When you structure a YouTube ad, the first 10 seconds of that ad are like, obviously it's video content going into the ad. The first 10 seconds are make or break. The first 3 to 5 seconds really are like where you've got to deliver all of your message in the first 3 to 5 seconds, so that people watch the 10 seconds, so that they then watch the whole of the video. And it's, yeah, definitely ties into that fact. And can I just say, this is exactly why we've brought Ellie on, because we don't do a lot of prep on this. But this is Ellie's first time. So earlier today, I just pinged her a message saying, like, have you got some facts for today? Like, in fact, have you got some marketing facts for today? Because otherwise she'll tell you about God knows what. It's like, it is random. she came back with a couple of things that were nothing to do with what she just shared. So yeah, thanks, Ellie.
It's random. It's all random in my head.
So what are some of the facts you got for us?
Oh, those email ones. I do need to open my phone because I don't want to say it wrong and embarrass myself. Okay, so I found out that if you have a blog, you're twice as likely to experience more email trafficking than you are if you were to not have blog posts, do blog posts or post on a website, any articles or anything like that. And also emails that are sent on a Friday are more likely to have a higher click rate than any other day of the week.
Cool. So why do you think that is? Why do you think on Fridays people are engaging more with the emails they're receiving?
My first thought, honestly, was if you look at the end of the month on a Friday, that's when you sort of start getting like it's payday emails, like come and buy our things. So people are more likely to look at those, see if they've got any vouchers, any offers and stuff like that, and take advantage of it then. So it seems like prime time to sort of jump in everyone's inboxes. And Friday's the last day of the week, so everyone's trying to clear their inbox, aren't they, really? Get it all over and done with before Saturday.
So I was like, John, I'm going to bring him up on the screen again. John, yeah, because we're all trying to avoid work on a Friday. This is the thing with marketing. We have to understand, like what is human behaviour. Like not what is the proper thing we want everyone to think we're doing. You know, it gets to about 11 o'clock on a Friday and I'm just sort of sitting here going like, I've had enough now. Actually, people that know me well know that's not true, but that's because, you know, I'm not quite the full ticket. But most people, I would suggest, are, you know, it's that Friday lull. It's not worth starting anything new today. I may as well start it Monday morning. What's going on in my emails and all that kind of thing. So, yeah. So there's a little thing going on in the comments now. Have you seen that? Over on Facebook, we've now got Paul Green suggesting that John Scotcher avoids real work most days. So, you know, as a fellow provider of websites, we're going to agree. Okay, what you say, Christina? But yeah, like I said, you know, I think this is the thing. When you were doing email marketing, we send these campaigns out and we look at the data, like, you know, who's opened it, who's clicked, like who do we need to follow up with, all of that kind of stuff. But it's surprising to me when we suggest to people, well, can we test sending it like on a Tuesday versus a Friday versus a Sunday evening? Can we, right now we know a Friday is the best time. Can we test it? You know, is it better at 7 in the morning or 7 in the evening and vice versa? I'm distracted now because John Scotcher is now suggesting that it's fine. He can do what he wants because he's got passive income sorted. There you go. Good comeback. But yeah, like I said, in terms of that testing, like testing the days of the week that work best for you and your ideal client for your database, and actually the times of the day. And if you're happy to invest the time, if your database is big enough, you might find actually we're going to send that email, but we're going to send it to this segment on a Tuesday and that segment on a Friday, knowing that between the two, that's when we get the best hit rates. So yeah, really useful fact. And then I wanted to pick up on the thing about the blog traffic. So if you've got a blog, you'll get two times the traffic from email coming through to your website. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to mute and put Mark under pressure because I don't know the answer to this. So I look at a lot of people's Google Analytics because I'm nosy. And that's kind of my job. And sometimes we'll look at where's the traffic coming from. Is it social media? Is it organic? Is it direct? And email doesn't always show up. So it's kind of like if you are really invested in email marketing, obviously the reason that traffic's coming through is you're producing blogs, you're then shooting that out on email. People are clicking through from the email into the blog, investigating the website from there. So I guess, Mark, there's almost like a twofold question, which gives you get out jail card as well. So in terms of measuring that traffic coming through from email, is there anything that can be suggested there to improve how that's measured? And also just thinking about like what kind of things can people do to make sure that if they have got the blog and they're sending it out that way, they can ensure that people are then landing on that blog and investigating the rest of the site rather than just bouncing off.
I suppose on the measuring thing, obviously most of the email platforms themselves have got pretty good analytics these days. So you can look at obviously back end of MailChimp or Constant Contact, whatever your sort of platform of choice is. So you can see in there obviously all your click-through rates and open rates and that sort of thing. And you'll be able to see which links are being clicked on. So again, obviously, if we're looking at, say, our Friday email or something, we could see whether it's the blog or whether someone's clicking on the live lunch sort of link and things like that. So we can see which things are actually attracting people in that email. And then obviously, in terms of keeping people on the site, obviously things like we've been speaking about again recently, obviously exit intent. So we've got on our blogs, if someone clicks through, there's an exit intent pop-up that comes up, which then at the moment directs them to our goodies page. So, you know, if someone's looking at a blog, then they can then go on and have a look at the downloads. Hopefully they'll have a click through around the downloads pages, have a look at the various things in there. It could be, obviously we've spoken about changing some of ours to maybe some sign up type things as well. So again, you can use those blogs to, you know, encourage even more people to sort of sign up. Obviously within the blogs themselves, obviously adding links and things within there, whether that, you know, sort of internal linking banners to, you know, other services or other blogs, you know, that are relevant on the site. So again, you're sort of creating this sort of web of sort of traffic. You know, if someone clicks on one blog, then they can go to another, and then they might look at your services page after that if you link to that. So essentially, we're all trying to drive people to buy things, but you're just doing it in a bit more subtle way, basically.
Ellie, what you just said, can you just write it up as an article and we'll put it out on the blog? Mr. I've got nothing to say. I'm like, I literally, like, there's nothing else I can add to that. That was a really, I can't say succinct. It was a really good answer, wasn't it? I was like, I just went and checked something on LinkedIn quickly, make sure everything's all present and correct there, and came back and he was still talking. I was like, hold on, what's happened? It's because you're in the office, you're focused.
How many cups of coffee have you had, Mark?
Did you notice there were 6 fingers on one hand for a second? Joking.
There might be one in a minute now.
So come on, Jane, what else is on your list? What have you got for us?
Okay, a couple more things then. So Pinterest, you don't hear much from Pinterest, but then occasionally they do sort of big things. So we talked a little while ago on here about augmented reality and things you could put in your emails. And I was talking about some furniture that I'd bought and you could hold your phone up and it showed you what it looked like in the room. So Pinterest is doing that basically on their app. So they're doing a sort of augmented reality thing for when you've got, you know, for people selling things where you can have a look at that item in your room, on your wall, whatever it might be that you buy. Again, it's only in testing, I think, at the minute. But yeah, I think that's quite a nice thing because as much as we say Pinterest isn't really a social place, it's actually a really useful place. Especially if you're trying to do something like decorating your house or, you know, I mean, I used it a lot when we were building a summer house to get ideas of what I wanted to put inside it and things like that. So actually having an augmented reality part of that, where I could then look what that thing would look like in my summer house, to me, that's a fantastic idea. So I think that's a really good one for Pinterest.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm just, it's like my feelings around Pinterest are like Mark's feelings around Clubhouse and TikTok. I'm just like, I just don't get it. I'm just, yeah, strange. Do you use Pinterest, Ellie?
I do. I used it. I used to use it a lot when I first started decorating my house. I was gonna say, it'll save you getting the tape measure out. You know, when you're trying to measure something for the wall and you think, oh, I've not got a tape measure.
Yeah, good
Just
point.
get your phone up. Sorted.
But you know, we've got some stuff to put up in the office. We were literally talking yesterday about like how we're going to measure things to put things in the right place, and yeah, it all got very technical.
I'm not I'm not in charge of that after doing that whiteboard. Me and Ken are tapping out.
We've
I'm
got
tapping
whiteboards. We've got whiteboards in the office. It's like someone needs, like, I wanted a calendar on it because something to do, like content planning, communication. We wanted something that's a bit more, a bit more practical in the office than like having to log into everything. So I was like, this is what I want on the whiteboard. And I drew it on my iPad and just sent it to Ellie and Kim. And Ellie ended up with the job of recreating this scribble on the whiteboard. But she did a very good job. I'm very happy with it. Well
It
done,
did take me
Ellie.
45 minutes.
It's fine. She swore a lot. Why was she doing it? She wasn't very happy. But yeah, like I said, Pinterest is just not my thing.
But then maybe you've not had a project you need to do. You know, maybe if you decide to redecorate your house, suddenly Pinterest will come into it.
I'm not being funny, Jane. You lot are all projects.
Fair enough.
Cool. Okay. Did you see the stuff on Twitter, Jane, about long form content?
I did, yes. So, did you want me to talk about it first?
Yeah. What's your opinion on it? What do you think?
Right. So, it's a funny one, really. So, Twitter's looking at allowing you to publish articles on there. So, long form content that's hosted on Twitter, and then I get the impression from what I've read that you then share that via a tweet. I think that's a bit bizarre, because if you're going to share it via a tweet, why not host it on your own website and share it via a tweet? I don't get why you would put it on Twitter. If you want to tell a story on Twitter, you've got threads, and that works quite well, and people like to interact with them. So I don't really see where it's going if I'm honest.
So it feels like a really strange move. So if we go back, so obviously what's 140 characters, that's what Twitter was. And then we started to see long form content working on other social media platforms. If you go back, I don't know, 2015. Yeah, so I started working in this world in 2013. So I want to say between then and about 2015, 2016, we saw things happen like, do you remember Facebook had a notes option on, so you could write long form content that sat on Facebook, and people were using that quite a lot. And then LinkedIn started to bring in articles, and they were, only the creme de la creme had access to articles, and then they rolled it out and everyone was using it, and like things were working really, really well. And then all of a sudden they went, we don't want to push long form anymore because we're pushing video instead. And at that time, it was like Twitter was the last one to go, maybe 140 characters isn't enough. And they started to talk about doing like, shall we go to 1,000 characters instead? And in the end, that's when they doubled the length of a tweet, essentially. We've got what we've got now. But then that developed further again when they introduced threads. So you'd have all these 200 odd characters linked together. Then was it last year they bought Review, which is like newsletter software. And so they've integrated that into the platform. And now they're bringing this in. But essentially what they're bringing in is something that both Facebook and Facebook basically just like went, no, we're getting rid of that. It's crap. No one's using it. So that went, I mean, I don't even know how many years ago now. It's got to be like 4 years ago. Yeah. Maybe 5 years ago. LinkedIn articles are still there, and they talked about like we're going to release the option so that pages can post articles as well. But I don't think it's just like hardly happened. People don't really use them. If you've got like 25,000 followers on LinkedIn, you post an article on there, it will get a bit of traction, but not loads. If you haven't, if you've got a couple of thousand, I think if you've got less than 10,000 and you post an article on LinkedIn, maybe 5 people will see it, and 4 of those will be related to you. So it's just like, it's weird that Twitter are now, and they're in testing mode on this, being able to post articles there. So it's just all feels weird. But exactly what you said, Jane, and it's like back at the time when LinkedIn articles were working, the process was, you posted your long form article, your blog on your website, you waited so that that got indexed so that it showed it belonged to you, and then a week or a couple of weeks later you would post it as a LinkedIn article. So it's kind of like, I mean, it's a manual thing. It's another thing on the list to do, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I just don't get it.
The other thing I read about it as well is it said it might be part of Twitter Blue. So it would only be available to people who subscribed as well, which I also thought was even weirder in a way.
Yeah.
But, I feel like, again, you'd put it on your own website, wouldn't you? So.
Absolutely. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's people using Twitter that don't have their own websites, but I don't think it's like, I think if you're looking at producing things like that on a regular basis, you're probably going to, say, John Scotch is in the audience. So, he's a web developer. Obviously, Mark's on the call, web designer. So I'm going to say this and know there's going to be shudders down spines. But if you were producing long form content on a regular basis, of course you'd go and create yourself a Wix site, or go to WordPress.com and do just create something yourself there, or use. Does Blogger still exist? It's like there are so many things out there that are intended for that purpose that actually you can then monetize, you can do something with. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
Definitely.
Yeah, I knew the web people wouldn't like that comment. I mean, and can I just say, for anyone's thinking about like spending time on Wix and like just no. Talk to us, there are other web providers available, whatever you want to do, just don't touch Wix, please.
Not sponsored by Wix.
Yeah, definitely not sponsored by Wix. Cool. Okay, so did you have something else, Jane?
It's only one tiny thing, actually. It's not something new, but something I spotted. Last week when Amanda was on, we were talking about Wordle and going viral and things. But I saw, I haven't downloaded it, I haven't tried it yet, but I've suddenly started seeing other people posting their scores. But interestingly, so one of the government health pages had put out a post a couple of days ago about vaccinations again, but they'd used the sort of green and yellow squares that I don't really know because I don't use Wordle, but the same thing that people put their score on to actually put their info on. I just thought that was quite interesting, really, because it was almost a copyright issue potentially, but yeah, it drew my eye in because I was like, oh, there's another one of those Wordle scores, and I was like, oh no, it's not. It's actually a post from the government health about vaccinations. But I thought, what a good way of getting someone's attention, though, to sort of sneakily copy something and that's popular and jump on that bandwagon in a way.
Yeah. I like the word. I'm just like, do you know, in some ways I feel like I'm left out because I don't understand what any of it is. But at the same time, I'm like, I haven't got time for that. Says the girl spending way too much time on TikTok right now.
It is not a good use of time, but Jane, you would enjoy it. Yeah. I've almost smashed my phone about 3 times. It's
addictive.
Yeah, it's one of those that you have to keep trying, and then you'll leave it, and it'll be in your mind like, oh, but I didn't quite get that one. I might as well go back.
Cool. Okay, Ellie, have you've got anything else for us today? I think you just had those 2 facts, but have you got any of your more random, non-marketing related things to entertain us with?
What was the one I said in the office yesterday? Mark seems to have been getting a bit more involved in my random facts of the day recently and seems a bit more interested.
I can't remember. All I can remember is things about tea bags and tea and Greek. Was it Greek bridges or something weird?
No, it was where they tried to build the underground trains in Rome.
That was it. Roman, Greek. I knew it was old.
We'll throw in. Did you know there are over 1,500 different variants of British tea?
There you go.
There you go. You did know that anyway. That's been in the.
So this is literally what happens. It's like where everyone's working and maybe it's a bit of conversation. Someone's just been on a call. They put it down, and Ellie's like, "Did you know?" And that's what she tells us. And there's just this silence. Like, where did that come from? But
I've got loads.
So I mean, why should we trust you? Where's your credibility?
I do have very, very keen Google nights, to be fair. if I watch something on the TV and I see something come up and it makes me question something, or like that one, I was making a cup of tea and I thought, I wonder how many ways you could make this cup of tea. So obviously you'd Google it, check a few different pages, and then I think everyone in work's going to love that, and you all go, oh, another one.
There's something of
Encyclopedia Ellie. That's your new hashtag.
that's it. Paul Green gives us all a hashtag. So there you go, Ellie. Your first time on, and you've got one already. Fantastic. Cool. Okay, so there's one thing that I just wanted to mention. So I came across an article that's to do with, some people, like on LinkedIn, you've got your picture used for your avatar. Some people don't have it. Some people have it set that you can only see their face if you're connected to them and all that kind of stuff. And some research was done that was basically like, does it make a difference? Like, what's the relevance? So Amanda's not here, so I'm coming in with the data. But yeah, so what they found is that 80% of people that responded agreed that, so this is like within recruitment, okay? So a candidate, 80% respondents agreed that a candidate's LinkedIn profile picture helps them to get to know the person better. Isn't that interesting? You feel like you know someone better just because you've seen them. And this is something I talk about all the time in coaching calls and that kind of thing. We've got to be more human. We need the photos of you, the videos of you, the whites of your eyes. So like I said, this was basically like, can your LinkedIn profile photo help you land a job? Well, if 80% of people are saying, actually, just being able to see who you are helps me feel like I know you, then like from a marketing perspective, personal branding perspective, like surely the same must be true. Okay. It then says, this is the bit I wasn't sure I liked. 70% of respondents admitted they had turned down a candidate because of their LinkedIn profile picture.
But that could be for fairly legitimate reasons as well, though, because obviously we've all seen the LinkedIn profile pictures that are someone holding a beer or a glass of wine at a wedding or something, which obviously doesn't give that right impression. So I'd imagine it's more based around those kind of things than anything too subversive.
So then it's a branding thing, isn't it? So like, what do you want to communicate through the visuals around your brand? I'm not going to put there's a comment on Facebook. I'm not going to bring it up on screen, but if anyone wants to go and have a look, it's, it'll be there, time stamped, 12:38, 37 minutes, 52-ish seconds in, it's there. Thank you for that. But yeah, you've completely put me off now. Branding. So what's the message? Like in that one image, in your headshot, actually, what do you want to convey? What, and it is, whether it's your headshot, your logo, the imagery on your website, like what is the message we're trying to communicate? What are the values we're trying to put across? So, if it is you, with your whatever you're drinking and the rest of it on the, whatever night out, then, the values are that you're sociable, you're fun. I don't know, but like, it's like actually this we can tie it so closely to marketing, or to branding on that one. The other thing that I thought was really interesting, 96% of those surveyed believe that a professional LinkedIn profile picture inspires confidence.
I'd agree with that.
But so like, this is great and I love this and it really ties in, but forget about marketing now. Think about like inclusion and that kind of stuff. Are we not kind of tapping into unconscious bias there? You look legit, so you must be trustworthy.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's taken us a while to, take the plunge and allow Ellie on. Do you know, it's amazing no one sued me. Like, how long what's this, episode 95 or something, and no one sued me yet.
I was going to say that'll be why Dean and Kim haven't been on yet then.
Oh dear. But yeah, how interesting is it when you think about these things? You know, it's like, actually, what's the impact beyond that? You know, what is the impact from a marketing perspective, from an inclusion perspective? Like, how much further does this go? You know, I'm again, all the time I'm saying to people, like, don't worry about polished content. You know, if you can record that video on your phone, take a photo on your phone, it's like, that's fine. The kind of the rawer it is, the better. But yeah, I guess we've got to decide what that base level is. It's quite
raw but professional.
But
yeah,
I guess you could say you'd have the same judgment, maybe not looking at a LinkedIn profile, but if you were to take someone in for a job interview, you're still going to have those judgments. It's just not behind a screen. So you're still going to look at that person and think, do they look right for my company?
Yeah, do they fit?
Yeah.
Do they fit? And I think this is the this is the thing. This is why it's so interesting. There is a whole infographic on this. There's like loads of information in there, but those were like 3 stats that just really stood out for me. I thought were really, really interesting. Okay, so there's some red flags. Do you want to know what the red flags are? So if your profile picture lacks a fully visible face, you're dodgy. If you're low res, you're dodgy. If you're on holiday, if you're clearly on holiday in the photo, we don't like that either. We don't like unauthentic images. So I'm guessing that's like, don't know, like cartoons, avatars, that kind of stuff. Using a company picture instead of a personal one. Over the top casualness. Okay. And lack of a smile. And I've given you that. Yeah. And I'm just like, you know, so if you're not smiling in that photo, then you might not be the right fit. I'm just like, really? But again, you know, if you think about our branding, bright colours, we want, you know, Doris with a big thumbs up and the rest of it. It's like we want people to think we're fun. We want people to think it's going to be an enjoyable experience working with us, and we're here to do a job, but we definitely don't take ourselves too seriously, and all that kind of stuff. That's like part of the values that we have, and it's like the whole thing's really interesting when you look at the stats that are there. Like I said, this is from a recruitment perspective. But like I said, if you think about it in marketing terms, from a personal brand perspective, there's some really interesting stats there. So I'll pop the link to the article. In fact, here we go. I'll just do it now because, obviously I was reading those stats because I don't remember things like that, unfortunately. The link is in the chat, or it should be appearing everywhere if anyone wants to take a look at that. Cool. Okay, so does anyone have anything else? Mark, you got anything else to say? You've been chatty today.
Rec Expo.
A man of many words.
Two words that you haven't spoken about yet.
Do you know, it's because I'm so next week is the Recruitment Agency Expo. We're going to be at London Olympia Tuesday and Wednesday. We're there on the stand. I'm speaking about how recruiters can get the most out of social media. That's 4:00 on the Tuesday in Theatre 1. We're like, all 4 of us are going. Dean's coming as well. And we're just going to have a great 2 days, but it's pretty full on. Like getting everything ready for it. And we've like packed everything and packed it again about 3 times. Then this morning I'm like, Mark, I've come up with an idea. And he's just like, I shouldn't have done that. You could all see my roots now. But like this morning, I was like, Mark, I was thinking last night, and you just like, he was like, yes. And the colour just drained through. And I was like, it's fine. Don't worry. We'll do it next time instead. But I'm really looking. It, like I said, it just feels a bit full on. I feel a bit Rec Expo'd out. We just need to get there and do it now. but it's quite exciting. It's like the industry's coming back together again. We're going to see a lot of our contacts, a lot of our clients, people we've spent a lot of time with up until March 2020. So just being able to reconnect with them, and like a lot of these people, Jane's only ever met over an email.
Yeah.
So actually meeting face to face, they'll know she's a real person. And Ellie, you're just coming along for the experience, aren't you? To see like what we've been talking about.
Bit of a ride to London, why not?
Absolutely.
I've got to keep Jane on her toes somehow. She's not in the office. It's not going to be enough.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting week. And actually, just before we finish off, because Ellie really is going to be like the next between now and next Thursday, you've just got like new experience sessions, new experience central. So you're networking tomorrow?
Yep, I'm doing a one-to-one with Paul.
Yeah, so Paul Green from the business community, and then you're going to his I can't remember what it's properly called.
That's why I didn't say it.
Yeah. So he's got like an open networking call at 3 p.m. tomorrow. So it's free to join. Paul will be on there. John, who's been in the comments on Facebook, may well be on there as well. So I'm sure they will, I would say give you some support, but just like, they'll be direct messaging in the background, trying to distract you and put you off, I'm sure.
He said it for us.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Paul, in all seriousness, if you want to drop the link to that Friday 3:00 in the comments over on Facebook, and if anyone wants to look at that, definitely do. But that's going to be your first networking experience. Mm-hmm. Have you got your elevator pitch sussed?
The answer to that depends on, are you going to ask me to do it right now?
She knows me so well. She knows me so well. No, I won't. But as soon as we've stopped the broadcast, you are going to do it for me, Mark and Jane. And then, tomorrow, 3:00, that will be your first public attempt at it. So, and I'm sure everyone will be really kind. So don't worry about it. It'll be good. But yeah, you'll be networking. You're coming out to the expo next week. I've given you a bunch of new tasks this week as well, and new projects. So exciting times for you. Mm-hmm. And you've been on live lunch.
And I've been on. See, I did it.
Well done. And awesome. What do we think? Scores out of 10 for Ellie?
Oh yeah, she's definitely a 9 or a 10.
Thank you, Jane.
Mark didn't unmute or hold fingers up then.
He's just a 5.
Yeah, Mark. He's not impressed with me because I tried to get him to go for a walk on Wednesday and he just wasn't having it.
I was too busy. Too much to do.
Getting ready for Expo.
Yeah, trying to quell the other ideas down so I can do some work.
Awesome. Paul Green says you get a higher score than the rest of us.
Yes. Thank you, Paul.
Amazing. Okay, cool. Right, let's wrap up there. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And we will be here straight back from Expo Thursday at 12 on Facebook, YouTube, and my LinkedIn. And we'll tell you everything that went on there, how that went, and what else has been going on in the social media world. So have a fantastic week. We'll give you a little wave. Come on, Ellie. I will see you soon. Bye for now.
Bye.